council table. Mr. Brashear, Ms. Brashear Mast are also present together at council table. Sounds to me like we've got all our jurors back. What I intend to do, council, is provide some very brief instructions and then read instructions numbers 1 through 6. And I previously provided those to the council and the parties. Are there any objection to those instructions? They come right from the pattern jury instructions from the state of Idaho.
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
Okay. And to be clear, these are these instructions will again be provided at the end of the trial with a complete packet of the together with the post-proof instructions that I'll provide as well. So, all right. Anything that we need to take up before we return the jury?
Not from the plaintiffs.
Okay, please, Mr. Brashear, Ms. Brashear Mast, anything that you'd like to take up before we return the jury? Okay, please rise for the jury. All right, thank you. You may be seated. So the record will reflect that the jury has been returned. They appear to be properly seated. Will the parties stipulate that the jury is returned and seated appropriately?
Plaintiff so stipulated.
Mr. Brashear, Ms. Brashear Mast.
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you coming back. We're about to begin the trial of this lawsuit. Some of you may be unfamiliar with the procedures in which you're about to participate. In order to familiarize you with the judicial process, I'm going to briefly summarize how this trial will proceed. I will read to you some of your instructions, then the attorneys will make opening statements, and the defendants may, if they wish, save their opening statements until later. The opening statement is intended to inform you about the party's case, what the party claims, and what evidence the party intends to produce for you. The opening statement is not evidence. The plaintiffs proceed first and offer all the evidence on its claims. Then the defendants will proceed to offer all the evidence on their defense. At the conclusion of the defendant's case, rebuttal evidence may be offered. After all the evidence is in, I will read to you the rest of your instructions. In those instructions, I will tell you what the law is and what you have to decide. The trial will then conclude with the arguments of the lawyers. You will be taken to a designated jury room where you can deliberate on your verdict in privacy. So here are the preliminary instructions which I'm going to read you. Instruction number 1. Now that you have been sworn as jurors to try this case, I want to go over with you what will be happening. I will describe how the trial will be conducted and what we will be doing. At the end of the trial, I will give you more detailed guidance on how you are to reach your decision. The attorneys will make opening statements. The plaintiff will make its opening statement first. After the plaintiff's opening statement, the defense may make an opening statement or may wait until the plaintiff has presented its case. The opening statement is intended to inform you about the party's case and what that party claims and what evidence that party intends to produce to you. The opening statement is not evidence, however. The plaintiff will offer evidence that it says will support its claims against the defendants. The defense may then present evidence, but is not required to do so. If the defense does present evidence, the plaintiff may then present rebuttal evidence. This is evidence offered to answer the defense's evidence. After you have heard all the evidence, I will give you additional instructions on the law. After you've heard the instructions, the plaintiff and the defense will each be given time for closing arguments. In their closing arguments, they will summarize the evidence to help you understand how it relates to the law. Just as the opening statements are not evidence, neither are the closing arguments. After the closing arguments, you will leave the courtroom together to make your decision. During your deliberations, you will have with you my instructions, the exhibits admitted into evidence, and any notes taken by you in court. Instruction 2. Any statement by me identifying a claim of a party is not evidence in this case. I've advised you the claims of the parties merely to acquaint you with the issues to be decided. Instruction number 3. During your deliberations, you will be entitled to have with you my instructions concerning the law that applies to this case, the exhibits that have been admitted into evidence, and any notes taken by you in the course of the trial proceedings. If you take notes during the trial, be careful that your attention is not thereby diverted from the witness or his testimony, and you must keep your notes to yourself and not show them to other persons or jurors until the jury deliberations at the end of the trial. Instruction number 4. There are certain things you must not do during this trial. 1, you must not associate in any way with the parties, any of the attorneys or their employees, or any of the witnesses. 2, you must not discuss this case with anyone or permit anyone to discuss the case with you. This includes any use of email, text messaging, tweeting, blogging, electronic bulletin boards, or any other forms of communication, electronic or otherwise. If anyone attempts to discuss the case with you or to influence your decision in the case, you must report it to me promptly. 3, you must not discuss the case with other jurors until you retire to the jury room to deliberate at the close of the entire case. 4, you must not make up your mind until you have heard all of the testimony and have received my instruction as to the law that applies to the case. 5, you must not contact anyone in an attempt to discuss or gain a greater understanding of the case. And 6, you must not go to the place where any alleged event occurred or conduct any personal investigation or look up information from any source, including the internet. Instruction 5. Members of the jury, I remind you that you are not to discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else, nor to form any opinion as to the merits of the case until after I finally submit the case to you. Instruction 6. These instructions and the instructions I will give you before you deliberate explain your duties as jurors and define the law that applies to this case. It is your duty to determine the facts, to apply the law set forth in these instructions to those facts, and in this way to decide the case. Your decision should be based upon a rational and objective assessment of the evidence. It should not be based on sympathy or prejudice. It is my duty to instruct you on the points of law necessary to decide the case, and it is your duty to follow the law as I instruct. You must consider these instructions as a whole, not picking out one and disregarding others. The order in which these instructions are given or the manner in which they are numbered has no significance as to the importance of any of them. If you do not understand an instruction, you may send a note to me through the bailiff, and I will try to clarify or explain the point further. In determining the facts, you may consider only the evidence admitted in this trial. This evidence consists of the testimony of the witnesses, the exhibits admitted into evidence, and any stipulated or admitted facts. While the arguments and remarks of the attorneys may help you understand the evidence and apply the instructions, what they say is not evidence. If an attorney's argument or remark has no basis in the evidence, you should disregard it. The production of evidence in court is governed by rule of law. At times during the trial, I may sustain an objection to a question without permitting the witness to answer it, or to an offered exhibit without receiving it into evidence. My rulings are legal matters and are solely my responsibility. You must not speculate as to the reason for any objection which was made, or my ruling thereon, and in reaching your decision, you may not consider such a question or exhibit or speculate as to what the answer or exhibit would have shown. Remember, a question is not evidence and should be considered only as it gives meaning to the answer. There may be an occasion where an objection was made after an answer was given or the remark was made, and in my ruling on the objection, I instructed that the answer or remark be stricken, or directed that you disregard the answer or remark and dismiss it from your minds. In your deliberation, you should not, or you must not consider such answer or remark, but must treat it as though you have never heard it. The law does not require you to believe all of the evidence admitted in the course of the trial. As the sole judges of the facts, you must determine what evidence you believe and what weight you attach to it. In so doing, you bring with you to this courtroom all of the experience and background of your lives. There is no magical formula for evaluating testimony. In your everyday affairs, you determine for yourselves whom you believe, what you believe, and how much weight you attach to what you are told. The considerations you use in making the more important decisions in your everyday dealings are the same considerations you should apply in your deliberations in this case. And with that, Mr. Miller, Mr. Hickey, you may proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Your Honor, Lord, please report. It began with, of all things, children. Two beautiful children. A custody battle in a divorce between two parents, Rebecca Brashear and John Mast, who is no longer with us. For years, the story of John Mast haunted me. I was his custody during his divorce. It's haunted his family. We're all here today. My guess is that it haunts John's children, Ashira, 13, and Zane, 11. They were much younger during this case, and when their father was killed. A girl and a boy that are now forced to go through the rest of their lives without their father. He was taken away from us on February 5, 2021, right here in Lewiston, at a place, if you live in this area, that you may all know. The Rosar's parking lot just up the road here. It has been over 4 years, and it is still a dagger in the heart for the Mast family. It's something they think about every day. It's something they live with every day. And something that Ashira and Zane, I would presume, think about pretty often. They will have to live with it every day as well, because they no longer have a father. So what happened? For 3 years, John Mast's divorce case dragged on in North Dakota. Why North Dakota? Because that's where John and his wife Rebecca and Ashira and Zane lived. They lived in Williston, North Dakota. That was their home. But at the end of 2017, Rebecca took the children and left under the false pretense that she was going to visit her parents in Idaho, just for a short visit. They live near here in Winchester. Rebecca never brought them back. In fact, John didn't see his children for the next 9 months. Why? Because Rebecca and her family would stop at nothing to keep John from his children. They alleged that John was abusing his children. They attempted to give restraining orders against him on multiple occasions. They canceled his visitations with the children. You name it, they did it. They caused a sexual abuse investigation to be started against John in North Dakota. That investigation would go on for 1.5 years before John was finally cleared. But of course, during that whole time, he had to see his children supervised because of these allegations that were hanging over his head. So for that entire time, he could not see his children on his own time or at a place of his own choosing. Meanwhile, even though Williston was the children's home, Rebecca kept them here in Winchester while she lived here with her parents. Fast forward to December of 2020. John's divorce comes to an end, finally. The judge finds there's no basis for an abuse finding against John. Finds that John, not only that, John is to have joint custody of his children, which of course means he now has what he should have had all along, his children unsupervised. The judge ordered that John would get custody of the children on February 5, 2021 at 6 p.m. He emails Rebecca at 5:45. He emails Rebecca at 4:15 and says he will be at the Rosar's parking lot at 6 o'clock to get the children. He also says this was typical John trying to co-parent. I'm excited to be able to start working together and show the children how both of us parents really love them. Rebecca emails John back at 5:45, only 15 minutes before the exchange, completely ignores his part about working together, and says she will be there at 6 with the children. This is 15 minutes before 6 o'clock. Remember that time and remember that email. You will hear about it a lot over the next 3 days. Unbeknownst to John, while he was preparing throughout the day to get his kids, Rebecca and her father, James Brashear, who is sitting here next to her, were frantically going all over Lewiston trying to prevent this visitation from happening. Rebecca was once again trying to bring up allegations of abuse against John, despite the judge's findings that there was no abuse and despite law enforcement saying there was nothing there. Both of those things she already did. She was again trying to get a restraining order against John, and once again she failed on that day, February 5, 2021. That was the fourth attempt she had tried to get a restraining order. All of them denied, over 2 years. All of them denied, all of them dismissed. So James and Rebecca leave the courthouse around 5 p.m. It's on a Friday, the courthouse is closing. They go back to Rebecca's apartment. By then, she now has her own place to live, so she has the kids with her at her apartment. They are, by all accounts, frantic and desperate by that time. Around 5:40 p.m., James leaves Rebecca's apartment. He went to the Rosar's parking lot and sat in the vehicle and laid in wait for John to arrive. John arrives, not knowing that the person in the vehicle is Jim, not Rebecca. John arrives and begins getting the back seat of his vehicle ready for the children. He hears, "Hi, John," turns around and is greeted by Jim with a pistol 4 feet away from him pointed at his chest. And James, without hesitation, fires, shoots John right in the chest. John turns around and runs. But James isn't finished. He then decides, cowardly, to shoot John 3 times in the back as he's running away. John would make it a little further and end up slumping between 2 cars in the parking lot. John's sister Betty, who's sitting here at our table, had accompanied John to the custody exchange to video the exchange. John was very worried the Bashirs would pull some kind of stunt at the visitation and try to blame it on John again, like they had been doing for years. So he was going to have proof this time that he didn't do anything wrong. She didn't get the chance to video anything. She was 2 feet away from her brother when he was shot and killed right next to her. She raised her phone and immediately called 911, all the while keeping eyes on James for obvious reasons. What does James do? He looks directly at her and says, "Yeah, call the police." He then turns around and goes to his vehicle, lays the pistol on the hood of the vehicle, and then he texts his wife 2 words that you're going to hear a lot over the next 3 days as well. "It's done." Then puts his phone on the hood of the car, and he calmly takes a seat on the front bumper of his vehicle and waits for the police to arrive, which they do within a few minutes, and they immediately arrest him and take him into custody. And that is why James Bashir, as he sits here before you today in a suit, his actual daily attire is the orange jumpsuit of the Idaho Department of Corrections, because he was rightfully convicted by a jury of his peers right here in Lewiston for his premeditated killing of John Mast. He is now and will be forever a homicidal convicted felon. You're going to hear testimony about how Rebecca and her parents, James and Robin, conferred with each other over the phone just 30 minutes prior to James killing John. James and Robin were on the phone, and Rebecca could overhear the conversation. And they talked about something called Plan B. Plan A didn't work, which was apparently getting the orders of protection. So you'll hear about this Plan B phone call. They are going to tell you Plan B was just to go follow John. We think obviously Plan B meant something else, and that is what happened. But I would ask you to think about this timeline when they try to explain it away. 5:30 p.m., 30 minutes before visitation exchange. James and his wife Robin are on the phone. She's at work or near her work. Rebecca overhears the conversation. 5:40, 10 minutes later, James leaves Rebecca's apartment. It's only 3 to 5 minutes away from Rosar's. Just before 6 p.m., James shoots and kills John Mast. Right after, he says, "It's done." Not, "I killed John." Not, "Hey, let me tell you what I did." It's done. But they're going to have you believe that they were not working in concert. We're also going to ask you to look at the actions and inaction of Rebecca on that day. These were her children and John's children. She was with her father all day, not for an hour, not for 30 minutes, all day, driving around. What conversations did they have? What did she observe about her father and his demeanor that day? What kind of statements did he make to her? And what were her thoughts on that day? We know the answers, and we'll be showing you that. She may not have pulled the trigger, but the evidence will show that she was just as involved. It will also show that she took an affirmative step to make sure that would happen. And we'll present that to you as well. I'd like to tell you about the witnesses that we're going to be calling and what they're going to be telling you about. You're going to hear Betty Troyer, who I mentioned earlier. That's John's sister. Betty came to be with John on the day he was killed. John had asked her to record the custody exchange so that he would have proof that he did not cause any problems during the custody exchange. You'll hear about her witnessing her brother being shot to death 2 feet away from her. You'll hear how that has impacted her life. She'll tell you about John as a person and a father and his struggle to get his kids back. You'll hear from Stephen Mast, who's here in the gray suit at our table. That's John's brother. Stephen was present at Rosar's as well. He was in his vehicle trying to drive down to John's location. There was someone pulling out or some traffic, he couldn't quite get there. But he witnessed James shoot his brother, John. He also got out of his vehicle to try to help John any way that he could. Especially after John collapsed in the parking lot. He will tell you how witnessing John's shooting has impacted his life. He'll also tell you about John as a person and a father, and John's struggle to get his kids back. You'll hear from Robert Mast, John's father. Robert will tell you about John, the type of person that he was, and the type of father that he was. He will tell you about that final day and his final chance to talk to his son before he died. Robert and his wife Sarah, who's in the back, John's mother, live in Emmett, Idaho, nearly 5 hours away. So they got the call and, of course, immediately got in their vehicle to drive to Lewiston, but they had to say their final words to John by telephone as his siblings held the phone up to his ear while he was in the parking lot. He'll tell you how John's death has impacted his life. One impact that the entire Mast family has is that they have not seen a Shire or Zane since John's death, not by their own choosing. You'll hear from Ashlyn Weza. She worked at Family Dynamic Connections, which was the place where John would get his supervised visitation. She actually owned that facility. She has 13 years of experience in supervising visitation. She supervised John's visitations with his children and will testify about what she observed about John as a person and as a father, and how dedicated and devoted he was to them. He would drive 13 hours from Williston to here to have a small amount of visitation on Saturday, and then drive back so that he'd get back to work for Monday. Then he'd come back and do it again. That went on for months. She will tell you about that, and how in her 13 years of dealing with custody exchanges and visitation supervising it, she's never had a more dedicated parent than John Mast. She also observed the Bashir family, and she will tell you what she observed about them as well, and the serious concern that she had about their behavior. Let's talk about investigations. You're going to hear from Detective Tyler Crane. Detective Crane is with the police department here in Lewiston. He was the lead investigator overseeing the investigation of James Bashir's premeditated killing of John Mast. He will testify about James' statements made the night of the killing and also his overall demeanor. You'll hear from Detective Danielle Hendricks. Detective Hendricks is a police detective and investigator with the Williston, North Dakota Police Department. She is the person that led the sexual abuse investigation of John that I had alluded to earlier. She has 13 years of experience in law enforcement and 10 years as a she can tell you about her extensive training and experience in child abuse investigations and the multitude of allegations that Rebecca Bashir made against John Mast, and how she soon came to realize that what Rebecca was telling her was not adding up, and that John Mast was nothing but cooperative during her investigations and did every single thing she asked him to do. She will testify that her ultimate determination was that John had done nothing at all to his children. She will also provide her opinion about Rebecca and the continuous allegations that she was making. We also assume you'll be hearing from Rebecca Bashir and James Bashir, the defendants. I anticipate they're going to try to justify their actions by continuing with this false narrative that John abused his children, despite law enforcement, the courts, and other professionals telling them otherwise. It simply is not true. We will show you that. At the conclusion of the trial, we'll be asking that you find Rebecca and James liable for the wrongful death of John Mast. We will also be asking that you find them liable for the emotional stress and damage that has been caused to Betty Troyer, Stephen Mast, and Robert Mast. Ladies and gentlemen, this case is about three things, and you're going to hear these words again in closing. Desperation, deception, and death, all of which were perpetrated by these two defendants. And we're asking you to hold them accountable for their actions. I will leave you with one final, what I think is an awful fact. John Mast was only 40 years old. It was good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hickey. Mr. Bashir, will you give your opening statement now, or would you like to defer until later?
I'd like to defer, please.
You may.
Your Honor, I have a quick question before I give my opening statement, if I may.
Do we need to hear it in front of the jury, or do we hear it outside the presence of the jury? We may. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to excuse you back to the jury room just for a moment while I take up this quick issue. May I remind you that you're not to discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else, nor to form any opinion as to the merits of the case until after I finally submit the case to you. I expect that this will take just a moment, so we'll excuse you to be comfortable. We'll get you back as quickly as we can. Please rise for the jury.
What? What did we say?
All right, go ahead and be seated. Ms. Brescia-Nest.
Yes, after hearing Mr. Miller's, after hearing Mr. Hickey just opening statement, I have a question about his witnesses. I thought that they weren't expert witnesses, and it sounded like those are expert witnesses to me.
Which witnesses are you referring to?
Daniel Hendricks, Ashlyn Weza, that he was describing their credentials and describing how they had numerous amounts of experience. I have a huge issue with that, as well as Tyler Crane.
Mr. Miller, do you want to address that?
Your Honor, certainly we are allowed to have witnesses introduce themselves, explain the credentials that they have for the field in which they work. We have not tendered anyone as an expert. We do not intend to elicit any expert opinion from anyone, but we will be asking them questions about their fields of expertise and about things that they observed as part of their work.
Okay. The reason I think this is becoming relevant is because I suspect that we've got the issue of Robin Brashear as well.
We do, and it seems.
It seems to me falls into this potentially the same category where nobody has articulated any expert witnesses, but sounds to me like we're going to have them rely on some of their experiences to kind of form their opinions. So I guess what we'll do is we'll take that up as it comes, but I guess if we're going to go one way on one side, I'm going to go the same way on the other side. So I just want you to be aware of that.
Sure.
Thank
Okay?
you.
Thank you, Your
I'll
Honor.
allow you to, if you want to bring that appropriate objection at the time, that's fine. You can
Thank
do
you,
that.
Your Honor, I appreciate that.
But I understand your concern and
I got concerned when he was going down a whole track of their extreme credentials. I mean,
Unfortunately, the damage may already be done.
well, we'll bring the jury back. Ms. Brashear, Mast, do you want to give your opening statement now, or do you want to?
I can give my opening statement, Your
Okay.
Honor.
And again, Mr. Brashear, I don't know if you want to do yours now as well, or you told me that you want to defer originally. I'm going to abide by that unless you want to go right now.
Appreciate that, Your Honor. Could I wait until she's done and give you a yea or nay?
You may.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go ahead and anything else that we need to take up before we return the jury?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Please rise for the jury.
Yeah. Oh, stand up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, please be seated. Thank you. All right. Here's the jury has been returned and properly seated. Will the parties stipulate that the jury is returned and seated appropriately?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
All right,
Yes,
thank
Your
you. Ms. Brashear, Mast, would you like to give your opening statement now or defer until later?
Yes, Your Honor, I will give my opening statement.
You may proceed. Thank you.
I, Rebecca Bashir, object to plaintiffs arresting frivolous and false allegations. I deny I participated in any fraudulent acts within the state. I instead assert plaintiffs came to false conclusions that I participated in the killing of John Mast. I will assert I cannot be considered for this claim as I did not participate in any action which was wrongful. The plaintiffs will assume I had conversations and made plans, which is the very definition of hearsay and speculation. I intend to show that I, Rebecca Bashir, never inflicted any intentional distress towards the plaintiffs. I also have never participated in negligent infliction of emotional distress. I will prove to this court I also arrived shortly after the shooting and was affected by James Bashir Sr.'s choice to shoot John Mast. The plaintiffs will intend to demonstrate I participated in the killing because I was at the exchange site a few minutes late, which is any parent would consider on time. They would also have you believe statements I supposedly heard. However, they, the plaintiffs, were not there to hear those statements, and no witnesses are going to be called to verify the statements made. I also have not received any criminal charges associated with the shooting. The plaintiffs would have you believe that an email is proof that I knew there was to be an unsupervised visit. However, I will show John Mast had not engaged in his supervised visits for 6 months prior to the shooting, had no known address, and had not completed court-ordered family therapy, which led my attorney to believe that any visitation would be supervised. I was blindsided the next day when I received a phone call which led to a turn of events which will be discussed at trial. The plaintiffs would make me responsible for James Brashear Sr. based on his age and a few health conditions. However, I would request this court carefully weigh the dangerous precedent which could be set by allowing a separate individual with no contract or verbal commitment to have a duty of care to someone who is a completely independent adult like my father, James Brashear Sr. James Brashear Sr. left my home on February 5th, 2021 and shot John Mast. I was unaware of his intentions. I'm deeply saddened by the events of that day still. Had I known what was going to happen, I would have alerted law enforcement. Unfortunately, I did not know. Today, I stand before this court and wish plaintiffs would have chosen to have not to engage in lawsuits. However, this is where we are today, and I'm ready to prove my innocence to this court. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brashear-Mast. Mr. Brashear, I'll ask you then, would you like to give your opening statement now, or will you like to defer until later?
I'd like to give it now.
You may. Please feel free to come forward, or if you're more comfortable right there, you can say right there.
What I'd like to say is, first of all, my daughter had completely, totally nothing to do with what I did to John Mast. I'd also like to say that I'm really, really sorry for the family. I understand their sorrow, their trauma. But please understand, my family's gone through much trauma, much financial expenses, much worry. We're here again today. For both families, it's been affected. But my daughter had nothing to do with it. It's me. I did it. I'd also like you at some point to close your eyes and think to yourself, if you believed in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, in your spirit, that a man was molesting your children and he was given an unsupervised visit out of nowhere, and they were begging you not to go, what would you do? I had no choice. I remember looking in a mirror in the bathroom and thinking, if I don't do something, I'll never be able to look here again. Please do that while we're doing this. And understand, we'd exhausted every effort to keep that from happening. We took them out of town one time. This time we said if we took them out of town, my daughter would be arrested for contempt. We had 2 protection orders on the children, and the same judge that we went to didn't give it to us because it was 4:45, and she wanted to do her 8 and hit the gate. That's what I think. So, that being said, I do feel sorry for the family. I see the pain in their face, and that was never my intention. And once again, my daughter, my wife, stuff I said in the investigation was because I was scared, worried, angry. I didn't know what I was saying. They'll probably use that against me. I said the F word, which I never hardly do. It was a bad thing, and I'm paying a price for it. If you think I'm not, come on down to that state prison and see what it's like for a couple of years. I'm paying for my crime, and I'm willing to do that. I have 11 years left to do it. I'm 71 years old. When will it be enough? When will it be enough? I have no money. I lost it all paying for lawyers. But my babies are safe. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brashear. Mr. Miller, Mr. Hickey, you may call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Call Betty Troyer.
Ms. Troyer, if you come forward, face my clerk.
May I say one thing first? I thought we were gonna have the witnesses wait outside while we,
The party witnesses are able to stay here, just
Okay,
as you and
okay.
your father are able to stay
Okay,
here.
thank
So
you.
that's the, Ms. Troyer, you may come forward. If you come forward and face my clerk to be sworn.
you did great.
So, Ms. Troyer, I'm going to have you come to the witness stand, make yourself comfortable. Make sure that microphone is green. If you would state and spell your name for the record, please.
Betty Troyer, Betty, Troyer, Troyer.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, are you able to hear her
Here.
just fine? Okay. I'm going to have you speak up a little bit. One of the things we've discovered about our beautiful new building is the sound is magnificent if you got the hearing device, but unlike our old building, the microphones just kind of fill in the blanks. And so if somebody speaks softly, please let me know and I'll ask them to speak up. So thank you very much. Mr. Miller, or excuse me, Mr. Hickey, you may inquire.
I get that all the time. I think we've already gotten your name, Betty Troyer. You are John Mast's sister, is that correct? And where do you live?
Oh, turn that green. Just touch the edge. Perfect.
Southern Idaho,
Okay. And how long have you lived there?
4 years.
Do you like living there?
Yes.
Where did you live before that?
Coeur d'Alene, Idaho area,
And how long did you live in Coeur d'Alene?
10 years.
And what do you do for a living?
Production manager at a textile company.
And do you enjoy doing that?
Absolutely.
How long have you done it?
2 years.
I hate to ask this, but how old are you?
48.
And are you married?
Yes.
And who are you married to?
Howard,
And how long have you been married?
28 years.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
How
Yes.
many?
3,
And how old are they?
24, 26, and 28.
Where did you go to school?
We went to a private school in Pennsylvania.
Okay. And was that an Amish school?
It was.
Did that go all the way through high school or just to a certain grade?
Just to 8th grade.
To eighth grade?
Yes, correct.
Okay. What did you do after eighth grade?
Went on to get my GED eventually.
At some point, did you move from Pennsylvania out west?
Yes, we did.
Where did you move to?
Montana.
In southern Idaho, do you go to church?
Occasionally.
And where do you go to church?
My parents' church.
Your parents live in that area as well, is that right?
Correct.
What kind of things do you like to do in your spare time?
Camping, hunting, crafting.
You are a member of the Mast family, is that right?
Yes.
Tell me about the Mast family.
We could you ask it
Sure.
again?
How many siblings do you have?
Currently have 6 siblings.
Can you name them?
Yes, Paul, Maureen, David, Samuel, Stephen, Katie, and Michael.
And then there was John.
And there was John.
And who are your parents?
Robert and Sarah.
And Robert's seated right here behind me, is that right?
Correct.
And your mom, Sarah's in the back of the courtroom.
Correct.
Where are you in the family ladder?
Currently, I'm number 5 with losing several siblings.
And just generally, where does everybody live, all of your siblings?
Anywhere from Kansas City, Missouri to California to southern Idaho now.
What kind of childhood did you have?
A wonderful childhood. We were raised on a farm, so with lots of siblings, there was a lot of work, but a lot of fun, and just an ideal childhood, lots of memories.
Where did you primarily grow up, or where you moved from?
I grew up in Pennsylvania till I was 17 years old, and then Montana.
Tell me about your relationship with your parents, Robert and Sarah.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Tell me about your relationship with your siblings.
Wonderful. We're a close family, very close-knit, love to do anything together. I believe 5 of my siblings live in the same area now, so we get to see each other and camp together, hunt together, and do all the fun things.
And I think most of the folks back here behind our table are your family, is that right? Yes?
Yes.
Did you say yes or no for the court?
Yes.
Let's talk about your brother, John, a little bit. Where was John in the family ladder?
He was just younger than me.
What was John like growing up?
Oh, mischievous, but quiet, and just a lot of fun. He loved to cook up fun stuff to do, and we spend a lot of time playing in the woods on our farm, and just, he was quiet, but had a side of mischief to him.
Did he have a sense of humor?
Oh, very much, yes. Very dry humor.
What did you observe about his relationship with your parents when he was younger?
Just a normal, loving relationship. We were very connected. We're close to our parents. Respectful, honoring.
What was your relationship like with John when you were kids?
Well, even though he was younger than me, he was such a solid person. And as he grew older, he loved finances, politics, all that stuff. So I looked to him for advice. We were just like, I would say, a normal family, hanging out in any chance we could.
You used the word solid. As he became an adult, did you still consider him to be a solid person?
Oh, absolutely.
Somebody you would go to for advice?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Someone you looked up to?
Yes, very much so.
So what about when you became adults? Did the two of you stay close?
We were fairly close, but there was a period of time where he lived in North Dakota, so living in separate states, we didn't get to see each other as much, but still every chance we could. And, he traveled for Thanksgiving, and I travel over there while he was working there, just family events.
What was John's relationship with your parents like as an adult, with him being? Did he stay close to them?
Yes, he stayed close to them, and he'd often look to them for advice.
You know what John did for a living?
Yes.
What did he do?
He drove delivery truck for Praxair. delivering oxygen tanks.
And how long had he done that?
I'd say 8 to 10 years.
Did he have to have a commercial driver's license for that?
Yes, absolutely.
CDL?
Yes,
With your understanding, he would pretty regularly be drug tested
yes, correct.
and alcohol?
Yes.
Uh,
Absolutely.
Did you ever hear of him having any problems with that?
No.
What kind of things did John like to do in his spare time?
He was into photography, travel, also fishing. He taught Zane to fish. He loved to go.
His son's age?
Yes, his son Zane. Hunting, camping, just outdoorsy. For a while there, he got into archery.
John has 2 children, correct?
Correct.
And what are their names?
Ashira and Zane,
How old are they?
13, and Zane will be 11 in August. 12, sorry.
So he's 11 now.
Mhm.
Prior to John's passing, did you know them very well?
Yes. There were, of course, a few years that we were estranged from them while the custody battle, the divorce case was going on. But before that, yes, and John made lots of effort to keep us in their lives.
What do you mean you were estranged from the kids during the divorce?
During the divorce battle, we also were not allowed, Becky also didn't allow us to be in the kids' lives.
Prior to the divorce starting, did you ever interact with Shira and Zane?
Oh, yes.
When did you do that?
There was a time I traveled to North Dakota because my husband also worked in North Dakota for a while there. Family reunions, weddings, just any chance we had.
Holidays?
Yes, holidays. Like I said, he brought them to my house for Thanksgiving one year. Yeah.
Tell me about those interactions when you were around with Shira and Zane. What kinds of things did you observe about them?
How much they adored John. They just climb all over him. They just absolutely adored him. He was such a gentle father to them, and they adored him.
What kind of things did you see John and his children do together?
As they grew older, well, and the several times that I got to really experience him and his kids as they, because they were 4 and 5 by the time this was all happening. They were at a park. He just spent every moment he could with them as he was allowed. And yeah, just that's
Just typical father-child.
typical father-child. And like I said, he loved to take Zane fishing. That was kind of their thing. And then Shira would wake up early Saturday mornings for tea parties with John. She was so excited. That was his day off. So they would do that. And he was very intentional with his time with the children.
Did they seem, from what you observed, and you're their aunt,
Mm-hmm.
from what you observed, did they seem bonded to John?
Oh, very much, very much.
Did you ever see any emotions from John or from the children when they were together?
Such as,
Just happiness, sadness?
oh yes, just lots of happiness. I never saw him upset over his children. Lots of, joy, fun together.
Prior to February 5 of 2021, that's the day John was killed, did you ever witness or participate in any visitation exchanges with John?
Yes.
Why did you go to those?
John invited me to be part of them as his way of us staying connected with his kids and also his kids having familiar faces in their lives. And he just made a point to keep us in their lives, that connection.
From what you observed about the children and their interactions with John, did they ever seem afraid of him
No,
at all?
no.
You understand during the divorce, there were allegations that John had abused the kids.
Yes,
I want to ask you about some of that. Did you ever see John physically abuse his kids?
never,
Did you ever see John verbally abuse his kids?
never,
What about emotionally abusing them?
no,
Did you ever see John have to discipline his kids?
no.
Not even if they got unruly or?
He was, I wish I could share a better picture of who John was, but he was such a gentle person, and so that was how his parenting was. He'd take the time to explain to them that why you don't do this, and just
That was just him.
that was him.
You're aware of the allegations that the Bashirs have made that John physically and sexually abused his children.
Yes,
To your knowledge, how long did those allegations go on?
approximately 3 years.
Did John ever talk to you about those allegations?
Yes.
What did he say?
It was hard. It was very hard and painful for him to talk about the allegations, and to the point where one time when I went over to visit him, he just handed me a whole stack of documents and said, "Betty, can you go through these?" There were documents that he I don't think even could go through. It was so painful to know that the lengths that Becky was going to destroy the relationship with his children.
Were those documents, were they just full of allegations against him?
Yeah, allegations that were so sickening. He didn't even want me to see him, but he did ask me for just another set of eyes on it.
I think you kind of answered this, but what did you observe about him, about how those allegations made him feel?
It broke him. It really did break him. He, when there's allegations, you're a marked man. You're never the same. Those allegations are out there, and you can go to the ends of the earth and the allegations are there. And it was a very difficult time of his life.
How did hearing that, seeing your brother like that, how did that make you feel?
Helpless, largely helpless, that we couldn't fix this. And we tried. We supported him in whatever way we could, and we'd encourage him in whatever way we could. And, we said, "John, don't give up. Don't give up. The kids love you." And
What is your response to those allegations that he sexually abused his kids?
oh, there's no way.
Why do you say that?
Knowing John as a person, he couldn't hurt anything. He was such a soft person. And the lengths he went to, from requesting a polygraph to doing psychosexual testing, the lengths he went to clear his name. And we knew him and who he was. And we also knew the Brashear family and who they were and what they were capable of.
From what, this is from your personal knowledge, was he cooperating with law enforcement
Oh, yes, very much.
at every step?
Every step of the way.
And the test that you just mentioned?
Objection, hearsay.
I'll move on.
Thank you.
Let's move to February 5, 2021. Do you remember the events of February 5, 2021?
Yes, very much.
Where were you the morning of that day, that Friday morning?
In Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
At some point that day, you ended up in Lewiston, is that right?
Yes.
Tell the jury how that happened.
John had informed us that Becky had filed yet another motion to try to stop the visit from, or yes, try to stop the unsupervised visit from happening February 5th. And so he didn't know, will it happen that evening or not, until the court went through the motion, heard the motion. So I looked at some point on that Friday, I looked at the court docket and I saw that it was approved he gets his kids, that Becky's thing was denied, whatever Becky had filed.
You said approved. He had already been awarded.
Yes, back in December, he had been awarded.
He had children back in
Yes.
December.
Yes,
She
correct.
had filed something to try to stop it
Yes. So that had to go through the court to,
in North Dakota.
yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And so I saw that the judge denied Becky's request. And so I was like, this means he gets the kids. And so after talking with several of my siblings, we were like, we need to go, there needs to be someone with him at the exchange.
You know about what time of day that was?
I would say 10, 11 o'clock our time, which was Coeur d'Alene time.
So you drove from Coeur d'Alene to Lewiston.
Yes, correct. I didn't go immediately.
Did John want you to be there?
Initially, he said, no, Betty, you don't need to come. But I said, I am coming, John. We are concerned. And because he had voiced concerns that the Brashears, what they are capable of, and he is sure that they won't allow him to see the kids or to get the kids. There have been threats made. So, and he had asked me to be there at other times.
Hearsay.
Mr. Hickey?
Judge, she's talking about a statement that was made as to why she took the action that she did. I don't think it's being offered for the truth of the matter, so
All right, I'm going to overrule the objection. Go ahead.
go ahead.
So what was the question?
You were talking about, I'd asked if John wanted you to be there.
Oh, correct. So he tried to talk me out of it, but we several of my siblings, we agreed, no, somebody needs to be there, and I was able to go. And he had been living with us before that for a couple months, and so he still had stored some furniture there. And so I loaded that up. I was like, well, hey, he gets the kids, so let's take these bunk beds, let's take, because he was in the transition of moving to Lewiston from North Dakota. And
Let me stop.
Mhm.
He was moving to Lewiston from North Dakota.
He moved there about August of 2020
Why did he do that?
because that was the only way for him to see his kids.
He wanted to be closer to
Yeah,
where they.
he wanted to be closer to his children. So he quit his job and moved to Lewiston.
Okay, go ahead. So you loaded up
Mhm.
beds and things and you headed to Lewiston.
Yes, correct.
Do you know about when you got to Lewiston?
At 5:40.
Where did you go?
I pulled into the Rosers parking lot and I parked at the upper end.
Up closer to where the actual store is?
Yes.
Did you meet John there?
Yes, I saw my brother Steven's vehicle and John was with him, so I went over to them.
We're going to hear from Stephen later, but Stephen lives in southern Idaho,
Correct,
and he had driven up that day as well.
correct.
So then what happened?
So I had a few words with John. He had the biggest smile seeing me. And we talked a little bit. And then he said, well, I am going to go get ready for the children. And so he had parked in the lower parking lot. And so he headed down there. I was in Stephen's vehicle at the point, and Stephen wanted to repark. And so, do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, had John asked you to do anything specific?
He had asked me to document it. When I said I am coming, he reached out to me and he said, could you document it? He had started to document everything, track everything, and record, document, because of all the false allegations.
So you're up in the vehicle still with Stephen when John goes down to prepare his vehicle for the children.
Correct.
You then get out of Stephen's vehicle?
Stephen was trying to park and had to, someone else was pulling out, so he had to wait on them. And I see the Suburban that Becky usually brought to visitation pull in, and I said, Stephen, she's here. And so I said, let me out. So he stopped right there. I jumped out and ran down to John.
So you're like in the middle of the lane in between parked cars. Okay,
Correct.
so you get out.
To let Stephen finish parking.
Then what happened?
I get to John and I ask him, where do you want me? And he said, just a safe distance. Don't let them see you. He didn't want to put me in danger. But before I could do anything, we heard Jim's voice saying, hi, John.
I know this is hard, but I need you to tell us what happened after that.
Jim said, hi, John. John turned around and Jim shot him 3 times.
And John ran away.
John didn't immediately run away. I thought Jim was shooting both of us. So when John didn't drop and I was still standing, so many things go through your mind, but all I could think of was, John, are you okay? But at that point, he ducked and ran.
So let's say you're James, okay? Let's say I'm John, right?
3 times there. All once.
And there's a vehicle. His vehicle's right here, right? Next to him?
Yes,
John?
correct.
You're James.
Oh, yes, correct.
Where were you? Were you right here?
Yes, correct.
How far away from John were you?
I'd say 2 to 3 feet. And a lot of the details are blurry because it happened so quick. But in my mind, I was 2 to 3 feet away from John.
Okay, so you put your hand up and pointed at me, and you're standing right at me. You felt like you were being shot at as well?
Oh, 100%.
So after that initial shot, what happened?
After the initial shot, John ducked and ran up.
Troy, can you speak up a little louder? The jurors are,
Okay.
thank you.
I'm sorry. So John ducked and ran for cover. I realized he's running for cover. And so I had my phone in my hand anyways, as I was ready to record. And so I called 911.
And did you get 911 on the phone?
Yes, immediately.
Did you say anything to James?
James looked at me and said, go ahead, yes, go ahead, call the cops. And I said, oh, I did.
What does James do then?
He just slowly turns and walks away back towards his vehicle.
Did he seem upset?
Oh, no, very calm and deliberate.
Do you remember what you were feeling at that point? You got 911 on the phone.
Initially, anger was probably my strongest, that this could happen and I didn't protect John. Anger and disbelief, shock. Because in spite of knowing that something could happen, nobody prepares you for the moment. And it all happened so fast that day that, oh, John is, I rushed down from Coeur d'Alene, and you just didn't have time to like think, okay, no, this is what we're going to do if something goes wrong. And we never expected to see James there.
So it's all, you hear, "Hi, John." John turns around, you look up, and it's just a total surprise. You've got
Yes,
James there with a pistol.
yes, correct.
What did you, after James turned to go to his vehicle, what did you do after that?
I kept my eyes on Jim until law enforcement showed up, and I was still on hold with 911. But as soon as law enforcement rolled in, I ran up to be with John
Law enforcement was there pretty quickly,
very quickly.
within a few minutes?
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes, yes.
So then you go up to be with John. Where was John?
John was in the upper lot between two vehicles
On the ground?
on the ground.
What was his condition when you got to him?
I could tell it's not good, but he was still coherent.
He was what? I'm sorry.
Coherent.
Mhm.
But yeah, I could just tell it was not good.
Was he, he was conscious?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Was Stephen there as well?
yes, correct.
How long before the ambulance got there to get a John, you know?
I can't, in a time like that, you can't judge time, but it seemed fairly quick.
Did you or Stephen, call your parents?
I called my mom.
Is that when you got to John?
Yes,
And did she answer?
she did.
And what did you tell her?
I said, Jim shot John. That was it. And I asked, do you want to say something to him?
And she said yes.
Yeah.
So what'd you do with your phone at that point?
I put it on speaker and I told Mom, you're on speaker, John is right here, if you want to say something.
And did she talk to him?
She did.
Your father, Robert, did he get on that phone call? as well?
Yes, Mom got him too, and he was able to say a few words too.
Do you remember what Robert said to John?
No,
Was John able to verbalize anything at that point back to them?
not verbalized, but he squeezed my hand.
And that indicated to you that he understood or heard them?
Correct.
Anything else about that that we haven't already covered?
Just a minute.
There's tissue next to you if you need it.
I don't think so.
Are you aware of an email that Rebecca sent to John that same day regarding the custody exchange?
Yes.
How did you become aware of that email?
I didn't learn that till after the fact, after he was shot.
Did you ever see the email?
Yes.
And what did the email say generally?
It said, I will be there at 6 o'clock with the children.
That was from Rebecca to John.
Yes.
And that was at 5:45 p.m.
5:45.
Based on your prior involvement in visitation exchanges and so forth, did that email from Rebecca seem unusual to you?
Oh, very unusual.
Why?
She had never cooperated, and I say never. in circumstances like that, it was very unusual. There was a time that John traveled all the way from North Dakota for his supervised visits, and she would just not show. She'd go into hiding or just wouldn't show. And so never cooperative, never communicate with him, or, there was no civil exchanges between her and him. And so this was just very unusual.
What did you think about that?
Oh, I immediately was like, this was a trap. She wanted him to be there for sure. It was a setup.
Because James was there and Rebecca was not.
Correct.
Do you still have that opinion of that email today? Is that still your opinion?
Even more so, yes. Knowing other things.
Betty, you have a claim for emotional distress. And I know this is difficult, but I need you to describe to the jury the emotions that you felt that day.
That immediate day, I would say, largely shock and disbelief. I didn't process it fully until the coming days and weeks. That evening, I just went into autopilot. And did what had to be done.
After that happened, in the days, weeks, months after, did you have any kind of stress,
Oh, absolutely.
loss of sleep?
Sleep, appetite, had constant weight in my chest that you wanted to reach in and pull it out just to get rid of it. That first year, you walked around fearful of everybody. You walked around with a lump in your throat and just this constant weight in your chest that you couldn't get rid of. The pain is just a constant pain that you live with.
I know you felt those things, the loss of your brother. Were you fearful for yourself after that day?
Oh, yeah. I'd get startled. I still get startled easily. I flinch and I can't open my front door without clearing it for traffic. If there's traffic coming, I quickly close it and step away from the door to the left or the right, just in case there's a bullet coming through. There's been times in a parking lot where someone had his hand behind his back and I just go into total fear mode.
You said the hand behind back.
Correct?
Is that what Jim did?
Yes, Jim was hiding the gun behind his back.
So he was hiding it as he walked over to John.
Yes, correct.
Betty, have you talked with anyone about the anxiety, the fears that you've had, any professional person?
Yes, I've gotten extensive forms of EMDR therapy. I wouldn't be here without that. That's been the biggest help for me. I've seen counselors. I've learned With the EMDR, I've learned how to cope largely, but it is still affects your sleep, your appetite, it's just a continuous,
And this was 4.5 years ago.
correct?
Are you on any medications for your anxiety?
Yes, I am.
Can you tell us what that is?
Fluoxetine,
Do you have to take that daily?
correct.
Do you know how long into the future you're going to have to take that, or is it unknown at this point?
It's unknown at this point.
And the EMDR therapy and the medication, none of that happened until after this,
Correct.
correct? Do you have any physical problems?
I have constant tightening of my shoulders, so I see a massage therapy. I do massage therapy for it. That's probably the biggest currently.
Do you know what that's about, why you're having that?
They say I carry the trauma in my shoulders,
So like a tense?
just the tensing and clenching of the jaw.
What has John's loss done to you?
Change my life in every aspect, trusting people, but mostly just the void. The void he has left. John's loss caused us to sell our property in Coeur d'Alene and move to southern Idaho to be closer to my family. I didn't want to be alone up there. I just didn't feel safe. I still have issues with feeling safe.
Dave, what has this done to your family?
Can I pass on that? The hole is too big to replace. And seeing my mom and dad lose yet another child has just wrecked all of us. So I don't want to further answer.
I want to ask you about a note of John's. You can pull that up. Did you find a note of John's after his death?
Which one are you referring to?
I have an objection to a note like that. How do we know it came from John Mast?
Well,
In that process, Judge, I was going to approach and show the witness a copy.
I'm gonna allow him to lay some foundation and then we'll serve on your objection. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't see how we know this came from him.
May I approach?
You may.
I'm going to show you this has not been admitted yet, but it's been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 7. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
You
can't tell us substance yet, but can you tell us what this is?
It was, John documented everything that he could, so this was one of the things he documented.
And where did you obtain this from?
From his Google Drive account.
Was he keeping notes consistently? Yes?
Yes,
And this
correct.
was one of those notes?
This was one of those notes.
And are you able to tell that this is John's diction, what he would say in his notes?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, this be good.
I object.
Still object.
We'll have one more question.
Go ahead.
How did you get access to this?
After John died, we had to take care of a lot of his business stuff, and so we were able to get into his Gmail account, and that's where we had access to all that.
There's no doubt in your mind this is John's.
Oh, no doubt, no.
Would ask this be admitted as Plaintiff's Exhibit 7.
Ms. Brasher, Mast, you have an objection?
I do have an objection.
Go ahead.
I object that there's no way to know that came from him solely. It came from his computer, but we don't know that it is for sure from John. It doesn't even say his name on it. There's no signature.
Mr. Hickey?
Your Honor, I think she just testified pretty thoroughly that she knows this is John's wording. This came from his computer, from his account. This is a note that he would typically keep. And I believe it's also a present sense impression.
Ms. Brasher, Mast, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
I'm going to sustain the objection right now. I recognize, I just don't know that there's foundation for purposes of a present sense impression at this point. I don't have any indication of when it was written. It does bear a date, but I don't know that enough foundation has been laid at this time, so I'm not going to allow it at this time. You can continue to inquire if you like, but I'm going to sustain Ms. Brasher's mass objection at this point.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I have 1 second?
You may.
I want to ask you some more questions about this note.
Okay.
Did this come off of John's computer? Or off of his phone? Or what device did it come off of?
It came off of my phone when I logged into his Gmail account.
So you went online and this was his Gmail account.
His Gmail account.
Do you know of anyone else in the entire world that had access to that account other than John?
No,
Do you have any doubt this came from him?
no, none whatsoever. It collaborated what he had told us prior.
So when you saw this, this went along with something you'd been told previously?
Yes, correct.
The date on the note has December 24th, 2017. Around that time, the end of 2017, were you in contact with John?
Yes,
Did he talk with you about any of the things that he mentioned in this note?
yes,
Was it these exact things he was talking with you about that are in this note?
part of it, yes, correct.
We'd ask to again.
Ms. Brasher, Mast, any other additional?
I believe, I stated pretty clearly that I believe that there's no way to know who it's from.
I am going to continue to sustain the objection. Again, I recognize what I'm looking at. I just don't know that you've argued a present sense impression here. I don't think there's enough here for me to find that it's a present sense impression. Again, I don't have a date. I don't know when this is written, so I'm going to continue to sustain the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Then I'll pass the witness.
Very good. Mr. Brashear, cross-examination.
Your Honor, I wish not to question.
Understood. Ms. Brashear Mast, cross-examination.
Yes, I would.
You may.
Okay.
So, this might be a hard question to ask, but you said that you had 6 siblings, correct?
Yes, but I realized then I think I misspoke.
You misspoke. How many siblings total did you actually have
There were 11 of us total.
total? How many total, what happened to the other siblings that you had previous to that? I know that's a hard question to ask, but I think it may even be relevant. I know it's hard.
Can I ask the relevance?
I'll go ahead. I haven't heard an objection. I'm going to go ahead and have you.
I'm sorry. Judge, I'm sorry. I didn't hear the question. I'm sorry.
Question. Can you repeat the question?
You had 11 siblings total,
10 siblings.
10 siblings besides yourself. What happened to the rest of your siblings?
I'm going to object to relevance, Judge. See how that's relevant to this trial.
Well, I have one sibling that I know passed away from drowning.
Objection narrative. Okay. Let's do this. I'm just going to excuse the jurors for a moment. I do note that it's 3:05 anyway. It's probably time for an afternoon break. So we'll work out this objection here in a moment. So members of the jury, I'm going to remind you that you're not to discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else, nor to form any opinion as to the merits of the case until after I submit the case to you at the end of the case. Please rise for the jury. Let's take 15 minutes. Okay, go ahead and be seated. All right, I've got an objection as to relevance. Ms. Brashear Mast, help me understand, can you make an offer of proof in terms of what you're
Absolutely.
expecting here?
So they're trying to paint John Mast as someone who was great with his children, no family, just wonderful dynamics. I happen to know that they did have some trauma in their family. They did have some issues in their family. So I want to bring that forward.
How does this relate to, you talked about John Mast. Help me understand how this
It
relates
may
to the
not.
issues here.
It may not. So I can stay away from that if you want me to.
Well, I'm just trying to get a better understanding of
It's
what is
basically
it?
the family dynamics.
Okay, what is it that you expect Ms. Troyer to testify to with regard to her kids? Or excuse me, her
John
siblings?
Mast quit talking at the age of 3 at one point is what I am hoping to get out of her related to his sister's drowning incident, which I think shows a possible relation to having some issues potentially, if that makes sense.
I think so. So as I'm understanding you, what you would expect to elicit from Ms. Troyer is that she had a sibling who drowned, and then when John
He
was,
deeply affected by that.
and how old was he when
He
that?
was 3.
3 years old, he was deeply affected?
Yes, he was deeply affected. It affected him in a way that was something that caused him to maybe have his psyche damaged by that.
Okay. Mr. Hickey or Mr. Miller, anything?
I don't know how she expects to tie that in. John was 40 when he died. That was 37 years prior. She certainly doesn't have any expert witness to testify about that. I mean, it's just not relevant.
All right. I agree in the terms that I didn't know if this was something that happened contemporaneously with his death. It doesn't sound like it
Yes.
is. I think it's,
I can stay away from that.
please do, because I'm going to sustain the objection on relevance. Let's do this. Let's take a break. You now have 10 minutes. Mr. Miller.
Quick issue before we break. Because we saw this just start to happen, and I jumped in with an objection I probably shouldn't have. My apologies, but I anticipate we're going to see maybe more of this. Is we started to see Ms. Brashear testify from the podium. And I would ask the court to instruct her to limit what she's doing to just questioning the witnesses and not testify.
And part of this may be my fault. I had intended to admonish everybody that we aren't going to have speaking objections here. A speaking objection is an objection where you're essentially, I'm objecting and making an argument at the same time. If there's an objection, let's state the objection, let's state the basis for the objection, and then if we need to discuss it outside the presence of the jury, we'll excuse the jury. What I don't want to do is taint the jury one way or the other with legal argument that is designed to assist me in ruling on the issue that they're not supposed to pay attention to. So I appreciate you bringing that to my attention.
Certainly. Thank you, Your Honor. Second issue is, as I said, as she's questioning the witness, we start to hear testimony. Okay. That would be appropriate as well. So besides speaking objections, I started to hear Ms. Brashear out her testimony. Okay. I had a sibling, blah, blah, blah. That's inappropriate. We'd ask the court for instruction.
All right.
Outside the presence of the jury.
And what that means is when you're questioning a witness, just ask a question, right?
Yes.
Rather than this is a little bit different than, for example, the opening statements or the jury questioning we did. But when we're directing questions to the witness, let's just keep it to questions and keep the commentary out. All right. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And then let's be back. Let's be back in 10 minutes, and we'll bring the jury back and keep going.
Did they grab it? Oh, no.
Need a stretch.
Feel so sorry for that girl. Breaking my heart. It's worse than being in jail. My wife's pretty much the same way. Bad thing. Hey, you can't have any of our water. Sorry.
Jesse, I got.
So you're coming?
That's Becky's. I'm not drinking any on purpose.
Oh, yeah, John, if you,
Jesse, I got water over here if he ain't
Okay.
gonna let you
I
have
would-
it.
you guys over here being mean.
I wasn't bribing him with my word. In the state prison, they call that getting in your pocket. I'm writing a book with all the prison terminologies. There's a bunch of them.
Down the duck.
You're only 2 llamas now.
Yeah, that's Steve Price, jeez. Soups, 2 soups.
My wife tried to convince me to write a book of my life. Because I was a cowboy at one time.
Really?
Yeah, then I became a deputy sheriff. And then I've done this job off and on for 30 years.
You should.
I've seen everything from petty theft to double homicides in jury trials. So,
We published a couple books, and there's a company that will help you edit it. They'll print it. They'll get you a website to where you get the money. They do it all. They do everything.
yeah, I got a friend that's has written 5 books. So he's put me kind of into the how to go about doing it.
First time we did it ourselves because I was in the printing business. But my wife revised it and used this company, and it's just like hands off. I mean,
Yeah.
they do everything. Helps with little income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm real hesitant on doing it and publishing it because I've lived through something like my wife. She had a great idea for an invention. We put out almost $15,000, and the company has never gotten anywhere with, getting it out there on the market.
Well, you can get a book out on the market, like I just said. Depending on how you bind it, $2,000.
Yeah. If I had money to throw away, I'd do it, but I don't right now.
I don't think you'd be throwing it away by the sound of it. You only have to sell a few books, you have your money back.
Yeah.
Thanks, it's everything.
Refill your water in case you need water. And if you ever run out, just take it for yourself. Okay.
I don't want too many bathroom runs. Is it okay if I just move this closer? They're having,
Closer to you?
yeah, will that help?
It
As
might.
sound?
The only
Hearing
thing
my
that we
voice is
need
soft.
you to do is stay as far this way as you can so that this last juror can see you.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's helpful.
But yeah, if you, unfortunately, this,
That's,
it can only go so far. That's all. Okay. Just, I just want to come up on the conversation here. Don't get me right.
Water? I'll talk to Joe. Do you need that exhibit?
Because it was offered, I guess she's got to take it and write something on it. I don't know if she's going to keep it. I just know she
Because it wasn't admitted.
She didn't give me a reason to ask for it. She just said, I need that
You
evidence.
just,
I knew what I'm
just
told.
doing what you were told.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll check with Joe. That's probably fine. I mean, the judge has a copy of it, but it's not the,
It's not
it's
that.
not the original. Hey, Joe? Oh, yeah.
Okay. You're taking away my job. You did the same thing.
Okay.
All right.
Robert, may I approach for just a minute?
You may.
To the witness. Yeah. What was the juror they're having a real hard time doing? Just want to make sure you have.
Keep that on green. And what happens is, unlike the other courtroom where it actually amplifies your voice, it just fills in. That's what they told me. So if you had the hearing device on, you can hear a whisper in that corner over there. It's that good, but it's still,
But it doesn't really amplify.
it just gets hard, so.
Is the best position just right here?
I think so. Well, that's fine. I think if you just, you'll just have to
He
keep,
told me
Yeah.
to keep,
it's just,
The clerk says she needs.
we're still figuring out some of the quirks here. And I know that I'm going to have folks from the Supreme Court come
Okay.
later on, and we're going to try to adjust some of this stuff. But it would be nice to get a microphone there, which would actually amplify voice. Now, if you get right on top of it,
Considering it.
it'll amplify, but you got to be,
my voice is soft,
you got to.
so they say.
Okay.
That's weird because they wouldn't be able to.
All right, let's do this. All right, let's go back on the record. All right, we are back on the record. This is Mast v. Brashear, case CV 35-23-195. Plaintiffs and counsel are present at counsel table. Ms. Betty Troy are still on the witness stand. Mr. Brashear, Ms. Rebecca Brashear Mast are present at counsel table as well. Anything that we need to take up before we return the jury?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so what I'll do, Ms. Brashear Mast, is when we come back, I will formally sustain the objection, and then I'll allow you to move on. And if you want to step up to the podium while we return the jury, that would be fine. So, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And let's rise for the jury. right, thank you. Please be seated. All right. So the record will reflect the jury has been returned. It looks like they're properly seated. Parties agree that the jury has been returned and are properly seated at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. All right. Ms. Fresh, your Mast, when we, just before we took our mid-afternoon break, there was an objection to the line of questioning. I'm going to sustain that objection at this point, and I'll allow you to move on.
Did you live in North Dakota while John Mast was raising ACM and CCM?
No,
Did John Mast primarily live in North Dakota from 2012 to 2017?
he lived in North Dakota until 2020, or 2019. From 2012, I believe.
Is it safe to say that you have limited personal knowledge of the children from 2012 to 2017?
It was limited, yes, due to living in separate states.
From 2017 to 2021, did you lose contact with the children besides a few visits?
Largely while he was going through the divorce case, yes, correct.
How many visitations did you attend?
I believe it was 3,
Did
There-
you park out back?
correct.
Did you arrive early?
I do not recall.
Did the visitation staff come get the children out front?
I was not inside when they did that, if they did that.
Are the front windows covered?
I do not recall.
How do you know what I drive?
Oh, we saw you numerous times.
You claim you became aware at 10 to 11 that there was to be a visit with John Mast on February 5th, 2021.
Correct. Can I explain that? Or can you re-ask the question?
So you became aware from 10 to 11 that there was to be a visit with John Mast on February 5th, 2011.
We were aware in December that he would get.
That wasn't the question. You said he was moving from North Dakota to Lewiston.
Correct.
Didn't he tell Judge Russ that he had already moved?
I was not here. I do not know if he said that.
So he had no local residency at that time of the visits, of the change of custody.
He rented an apartment in Lewiston.
Isn't it true that there was third-party communication was ordered previous to that day of the February 5th, 2021?
I prefer to not answer as far as the proceedings of the divorce case on what happened there.
That email was the first direct communication that I had with John Mast since 2017. Isn't that true?
I do not know.
You claim you are on mental health medications and have to have treatment. Do you have any proof of this submitted to the court?
No.
No further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Hickey, any redirect on those questions?
I have no other questions, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Troyer, you can step down and take your seat back at council table. Mr. Hickey or Mr. Miller, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Matter of plaintiff's call Stephen Mast.
Do you affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mast. If you'll grab a chair.
Try to stay over on this.
and I'll let you take a moment to get comfortable. And when you are, if you would state and spell your name for the record, please.
Stephen Mast, that's Stevenmast.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, any trouble hearing Mr. Mast at this point? If you could speak a little louder, just be aware of that. Mr. Miller, that said, you may proceed.
Thank
You may
you.
inquire.
Mr. Master, are you sitting in front of that microphone? You might want to sit as close to that as you can.
All right.
We want the jury to be able to hear you. I'm going to have you help the jury get to know you in just a minute. But first of all, first question I have for you is, why are you here today?
I'm here to stand with John, and I'm here to let John's voice be heard.
Appreciate that. And like I said, I'm going to do something right now that's probably pretty hard for you. I want you to talk about yourself.
Okay.
If you could. Where do you live?
I live in Emmett, Idaho,
And how old are you?
43,
How long have you lived in Emmett?
almost 6 years.
Where did you live before that?
Libby, Montana.
Why do you live in Emmett now?
Moved to Emmett for the better climate and family there. Family had moved there.
Better climate than Libby?
Yeah, more sunshine.
Pretty cold. What do you do for a living?
I am the owner and manager of a roofing company.
How long have you done that?
I've done that for about 20 years.
You enjoy it?
I do.
Why? Seems like a hard job.
Makes money, for one.
Are you married?
I am married, yes.
How long have you been married?
20 years.
Congratulations. How'd you meet your wife?
Through youth group,
How old were you when you met them?
21.
You guys, what's your wife's name?
My wife's name is Celesta Mast, and she's here.
Do you have any children?
Yes, we have 3 children.
How old are they?
Kayla's 18, Braden is 13, and Trevor's 12.
Did you go to high school?
I did not.
Tell me about that.
I was actually born and raised Amish, so 8th grade education. And then I went later and got my GED, did quite well on that.
Talk about that for just a minute. You can explain to the jury a little bit. I think you're talking about maybe a lifestyle, perhaps, that maybe some of us are not as familiar with. So you said I was raised Amish, and then you said 8th grade education, kind of like that's taken for granted. Tell me about that. Why only an 8th grade education?
I believe that's all that's needed for that culture and that lifestyle, that way of life.
That's part of the Amish culture?
It is, yes.
Is an 8th grade education?
Not so much now, but definitely used to be, more or less now.
That's all that was expected.
That's correct.
Gotcha. So that's what you did.
Yes.
Okay. Are you part of the Amish culture, or is it religion culture? How do I put that?
I'd say both.
Oh, okay. Are you part of that now?
I'm not.
Why did you leave that?
Just basically decided we wanted some of the modern conveniences of today's world, and that is more of a works-oriented lifestyle. So we came to a closer faith in Jesus also at that time.
What do you mean by works-oriented lifestyle?
Basically, if you follow the law, follow the church rules, you're fine.
You said that you got a GED later.
That is correct, yes.
That part of the Amish culture, not part of the Amish culture?
That is not part of the Amish culture.
Is it discouraged? Is it just not encouraged
It is generally discouraged, yes.
to go further than 8th grade?
Correct.
Interesting. Okay. And you were in the court. You've been in the courtroom for all the proceedings so far, correct?
Yes,
As a party.
yes.
To this lawsuit. You heard your sister Betty testify.
Yes, that is correct.
She talked about growing up in Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
Did you grow up there as well?
Yes, I did. Till I was 11.
And was that when you were in the Amish culture?
Correct, yes, yes.
So you said till you were 11?
Yes.
And then where'd you move from there?
Libby, Montana. Yes.
Were you still part of the Amish culture in Libby?
Yes.
Okay. When did you transition out?
It's about 20s, early 20s. It was a gradual transition.
When you were in your early 20s?
That is correct, yes.
Were you still in Libby?
Yes.
So after doing that, well, let's, while you were in your early 20s, you've gotten your GED, you're growing up, you're in Libby there, becoming a young man. What did you do after you got your GED?
I did construction work, specifically built log homes, and then moved on into general construction and then roofing.
Gotcha. So you transitioned out of the Amish lifestyle. Do you still go to church?
Yes, I do.
Where do you attend church?
Eagle, Idaho.
What kinds of things do you like to do in your spare time?
Hunting, fishing, actually like gardening, farming, playing with my kids, hanging out with my kids and family.
What kinds of things do you like to do with your kids and family?
Fishing. Fishing's a big thing right now. Hunting as well with them. They're old enough to hunt now. Hiking, camping, lots of outdoor things.
If I dare ask you where you go fishing?
No.
A true fisherman right there. I want to move into have you and ask you to talk about your family, not your immediate family, but the Mast family, if you could. You're a member of the Mast family, obviously. So tell me a little bit about your family. And Betty's testified about this already a little bit, but tell us a little bit more about your parents. Who are they?
My parents are Robert and Sarah Mast.
Tell us about them. Who are they? What are they like?
They are great parents, the greatest parents you could ask for. They're in their late 70s, I believe. They taught us a great work ethic, played with us as well. Just a great childhood. Could ask for better parents.
Did they initially raise you in the Amish culture?
That is correct, yes.
Are they still part of the Amish culture?
No, they're not.
Why did they transition out?
Same reason as me.
Wanted a car.
I think so.
It's okay, we can joke about this, we talk about this. Who are your siblings?
My siblings are Maureen, Paul, David, Samuel, Betty, and then there was John, Katie, and Mike.
Tell me a little bit, just briefly, about your siblings in general. You don't have to go through each one of them necessarily, but tell me about your siblings. What was growing up like?
Objection, relevance. What does all this have to do with?
Mr. Miller, do you want to respond to that?
Or we're just allowing him to, he's going to be talking a little bit later in his testimony about the effect that this tragedy had on him. I think it's fair to lay a little background on the jury about who he is.
I'm going to overrule the objection. I'm going to allow you to set the stage, so to speak.
Yeah, tell me in general about your siblings.
I guess a pretty broad age range. I believe the oldest is in the 50s and the youngest 30s. Quite different personalities. Started with 7 boys and 4 girls. I don't know how my parents did it. So many. Big family. They're all great. Still get along. Yeah, just call each other, and some of them live out of state, but still talk, and they are all here today except for one, so it's great.
Everybody's here in the courtroom.
Everybody is here, the siblings except for one from Kansas City, Missouri.
Everybody who's still surviving.
Correct.
Tell me about your childhood growing up. What was that like? Was it hard to be in a family of, was it 10 siblings?
Correct. 10 siblings. No, I wouldn't say it was hard. Of course, everybody had to do their fair share of work, but I don't have bad memories. Everybody was taught to share, obviously share everything with that many, and taught to work hard. And still remember Dad taking us fishing. I don't know how he found time, but it was a great childhood, solid family, solid childhood, solid church, and just it was great.
Betty, you described your family as close-knit. Would you agree or disagree?
Yes, I agree. Close knit.
What is your relationship with your parents like now, currently?
It's great. It's above average great. It's really good.
What about with your siblings as it stands now?
It's also great. Yeah, still talk a lot and see everybody probably at least once a year for a family reunion, and yeah, it's great.
I want to transition now into talking more specifically about John himself. I know this might be a little bit difficult, but where Mr. Hickey was asking Betty where she's at in the family in terms of the sibling. Where are you at?
I'm the third from youngest.
Third from the youngest.
That is correct, yes.
Down the chain ways.
Yeah.
So John was older than you.
Yes.
Well, how much older is John than you?
John is a year and I believe it's a year and 8 months older than me.
Oh, not much.
Not much.
Okay, so pretty close in age. What was John like growing up?
He was a great brother. We just did the things that boys do, live on a farm, learned to work young, but also lots of playtime, went to school together. He was in the grade above me, and he was awesome. He was mischievous, but he was also very fun.
From what you could tell, and I'm asking about things that you observed, so search your memory banks from when you were a kid, but what was John's relationship like with your parents when he was young?
It was great. Yeah, his relationship was great with my parents when he was young. I don't remember any major issues.
Do you remember anything specific at all about it that would cause you to describe it as great?
Just healthy interaction. Talking things through. I guess other than that, not specifically.
What kind of relationship did you have with John when you were kids?
Probably just a typical brother relationship. Lots of fun times. Of course, some fights, but generally just a great relationship.
What was your relationship like with John as adults?
It was still tight when he moved to North Dakota in, I believe, 2012. We didn't see each other as much, but phone calls, messenger, texting, and he would talk about his day-to-day life happenings. Zane playing soccer, Shira's ballet, etc. Always excited about the kids. Talk about work some, hunting, etc. Just a great relationship.
So he talked about his kids.
Yes, he did.
He talked about them often.
It seemed, yes, I would say so.
So that he would talk about Shira's dancing, you said?
That is correct. She did ballet. He talked about that quite often.
Zane's, what did you say?
Soccer.
Soccer.
Yes.
Did he talk about anything else about the kids?
Maybe taking them fishing. I remember seeing pictures, I believe on Facebook, of them doing a lemonade stand out on the sidewalk that he had designed and engineered and got going with them on a Saturday, I think.
He built them a lemonade stand.
Just set it up, a table and chairs and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
What did John do for a living?
John worked for Praxair Company, which delivered industrial gas and medical supplies like oxygen. He was a CDL delivery driver.
So Betty testified to that. You just testified just now. You said he had a CDL.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Commercial driver's license.
Yes.
Do you know if that carries any special requirements to possess and use a CDL?
I believe it does. I believe there's a stringent testing for it. And then there's also alcohol and drug testing throughout the time. But the company is free to do that, I believe.
Were you aware whether or not John, while he was working for Praxair, was subject to this drug and alcohol testing you're talking about?
I believe he was, yes.
Are you aware of John ever failing to pass any of these drug tests for his job?
No, I would have heard of it.
Why do you say that?
He was conscientious about providing income for his family, and that would have jeopardized his job.
Objection, hearsay.
Mr. Miller?
Again, I haven't asked him for anything specific than John said.
I agree with that. I'm going to overrule the objection. Go ahead, you may continue.
So yeah, he was conscious about his income and his job, and always very careful. I remember him talking to me about how if you're driving just a regular car and you get pulled over or something goes on your record, that also goes on your CDL record. So he was also always cautious, even just driving his van or whatever.
You said a moment ago, I wanted to follow up on something. You said that if John had, say, failed a test or had a
Mhm.
problem like that, you would have known about it.
Correct.
Why do you say that?
We talked enough that I know that I would have found out somehow. We were close enough that he would have told me.
Something like that wouldn't have been maybe so embarrassing to John that he wouldn't share it with you?
It would have been embarrassing, but he would have shared it. I believe he would have shared it, or I would have found out.
So to ask you a little more specifically, to your knowledge, at any point during John's adult life, did he have an alcohol problem?
No, he did not.
Did he ever drink alcohol?
Yes.
Did he have a problem with drinking? Would you consider him a problem drinker?
I don't know. I wouldn't consider him that.
To your knowledge, did he ever have a drug problem?
No, he did not.
Speaking of the illicit drug.
Correct. No.
To your knowledge, was he an alcoholic?
No, he was not.
To your knowledge, was he a frequent drinker?
I would say he was a social drinker, would drink occasionally.
Occasionally. How long did John have his job with Praxair, do you know?
Yes, I know approximately 2012 to 2019, so approximately 7 or 8 years.
Was that, as far as you know, was that the entire time he lived in Williston? Or did he move to Williston before 2012?
He moved to Williston in 2000, I'm not sure, 2011 or 2012, one of those two.
And then 2019 is when we heard from Betty he quit and moved back to Idaho. Is that correct?
I believe so.
So he had that job at Praxair almost the whole time he was in North Dakota.
That is correct. It's almost seems like he got another job just short term to start, but it was for the greater duration at the time. That one.
Do you know what kinds of things John liked to do in his spare time?
Yeah, spending time with his kids was a big one. I believe at one point he was helping coach soccer for Zane's team. Taking them on hikes, exploring. He kind of, in a sense, yeah, he did still hunting and fishing, was into the outdoors, but not quite as much in North Dakota. Traveling, also exploring state parks, etc.
Did you and John get to hang out very much as adults?
Not so much after he moved, maybe a couple times a year.
Betty testified about this already, but who are John's kids?
Ashira and Zane.
You mentioned those names. And do you know how old they are now?
They are 13 and 11.
Do you know them very well?
Not anymore.
Why do you say that? What do you mean by that?
Haven't seen them since, for sure, John's death, and then before that, and it was probably a year or two, so haven't seen them for 6 or 7 years. And even in several years before that, it was very sporadic, only occasionally.
And why is that? Was that your choice?
No, that wasn't really my choice. It was partially the distance, but it was also that even if we wanted to see them, we couldn't during that time because their mother withheld them from us and didn't allow us to see them.
Have you ever interacted with Ashira and Zane?
Yes.
Did you ever have the opportunity to see John interact with his kids?
Yes.
Can you give us some examples of like when that happened, where? those interactions occur?
Yeah, when they come to see us in Montana for a family reunion, or when we'd go over, but I remember better the Montana visits. At the reunions, they were younger than 4 and 5, approximately, and so I'd be playing on the floor with them, some on the living room floor with Legos or whatever. Tried to get them into the outdoors, fishing, hiking. I remember a picnic we were on with them. Just great interactions.
These, and you're describing interactions that John had with his kids, correct?
Yes.
Do you know off the top of your head maybe how many times you got to see John interact with his kids?
Yeah, that's a good question. Probably a dozen times, or earlier, oh, many times. I'd say many times, even as babies and toddlers, but all the way through it was maybe hundreds of times.
Several times, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever see them talk with each other?
Yes, I did.
And you did testify already about seeing them play with each other and so on.
Yes.
What kinds of emotions did you observe in John and the kids during those interactions?
Just from what I remember, it was healthy emotions. It was normal parenting. I believe I know John didn't like spanking, so it was never anything like that. It was talking through what happened if there was an issue, and then correcting it and practicing doing things the right way.
Did you see, so I asked you about emotions, did you see happiness?
Yes, I saw happiness, sadness, of course, at times.
Why did you see sadness?
If they, something happened the kids didn't like, for example.
What other kinds of emotions did you see in those interactions between them?
Just happiness, and referring to, the sadness, it would be like if a toy got taken or something like that. General childhood emotions.
And I'm maybe more concerned about kind of emotions you saw in John, you saw him interact with his kids.
Oh, and John, happiness, just really glad to be able to be a father, to be a good father, love, happiness. Always cared for them, concerned.
He enjoyed being a dad.
Yes.
Did you ever see, talking about those emotions, now speaking about the kids, did you ever see the kids fearful of John?
No.
Did you ever see, personally observe them crying or screaming about being with their dad?
No.
From what you observed, what kind of relationship do you think John had with his kids?
Great parent-child relationship. Very good.
Did you have a chance to get close with the kids at all in those?
Not really. I would say no, not necessarily. Just not enough visits.
From what you observed, though, what do you think the kids thought of John?
Oh, I think they adored him. Yeah, I think they adored him as a father. And that's the first word that comes to my mind is just adoration and admiration and love, and just thought the world of him.
You can remember back, think back about this. Can you estimate about when the last time was you saw John interacting with his kids? In terms of ballpark time frame?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to guess 2019 or so.
Okay. You witnessed an interaction between John and his kids in 2019.
Yes.
I'm not challenging you, I'm just verifying.
Mm-hmm.
Is that accurate?
I would say 2018, 19,
Okay.
possibly early 20. I believe it was 2018 for sure, maybe 19.
As recently as that, you saw nothing in the interaction between John and his kids to indicate they were afraid.
Exactly, I saw nothing. Even after not having seen them for a month, they were perfectly normal in his presence.
Mr. Hickey asked Sister Betty some of these questions. Did you ever witness or participate in custody exchanges with John before February 5th, 2021?
Yes, I did, I believe, one time for sure, maybe more.
And why were you there to witness or participate?
Several reasons. One was John had a 15-hour drive from Williston to, at least 13, from Williston to here to see the kids, and that route would take him through Montana. He would take off on a Friday afternoon after work and drive that many hours. So I would intercept him in Montana and I would drive part of the way, or I did at least one time. So that was one reason, and then also just to be there to support him, knowing the other party and the previous events, et cetera, to support him mentally with this, you know, the deal with disappointment if the kids don't show up, if Becky has taken the kids or not brought them to the appointment, just to be there in every way for John.
Maybe you just answered this, I don't know, but to elaborate, you said partly because knowing the other party, I assume you mean the defendants.
Yes.
And events that had occurred before. What are you talking about specifically?
I'm talking mostly about not showing up for appointments, about one time calling law enforcement on John when he did show up and creating a whole bunch of trauma for the kids. And you would just really never know what would transpire.
Excuse me just for a second, Mr. Miller.
It's not testifying about what anything said.
All right, I will overrule the objection. Go ahead and continue.
So just usually a bunch of drama and trauma around the visitation time.
Right, you're testifying that to your knowledge, the Brashears caused a lot of drama in custody visitation prior to February 5, 2021.
Yes, even though the visits were supervised with a third party, somehow they thought John still shouldn't see those kids at all for months.
In those custody exchanges that you participated in and witnessed, did you ever see the kids crying or screaming because they had to go through that?
No,
In those custody exchanges specifically, did you ever see them or hear them acting like they were afraid of John?
no,
Did you ever see, so you testified that you saw John interact with his kids on many occasions. Did you ever see John physically abuse his children?
no,
Did you ever see John verbally abuse his children?
no,
Did you ever see John do anything that you would characterize as emotional abuse of his children?
no.
I'm going to ask you about discipline, but I think you talked about that. You said that John didn't like spanking and he preferred to talk to the children.
That is correct, yes.
Are you aware of allegations the defendants, the Brashears, made in the past or have made that John physically and sexually abused his children?
Yes.
To your knowledge, how long did those allegations go on?
Started in 2017 with physical, and then when that didn't work, went on into sexual and I'd say to current, 2017 to current, because it's still alleged that.
Did John ever talk to you about those allegations?
Yes, he did.
Did he tell you?
He may have.
They're not offered for the truth of the matter, they're offered for the effect of the listener. They're also, they fall under exception 8033, judge statements of the defendant's then existing, declarants then existing mental or emotional condition.
And I'm going to overrule the objection, but we are going to ask you to be careful.
Thank you, Judge. So the question was, did John ever talk to you about those allegations? And you said yes. And I asked you, what did he tell you?
He reluctantly talked to me about the details of the allegations sometimes and how sickening it was. That's it.
Why do you say reluctant?
I don't think he wanted to impose that on even a close brother. The horrendous allegations that were unfounded, not true.
From what you could tell, now I'm asking about observations that you've had. How were those allegations making John feel?
They were repulsive to him. They were making him feel probably sick to his stomach. It was brutal. They tore him down.
How did hearing those kinds of things make you feel?
Very repulsed and helpless, hopeless feelings. Knowing it's not true and it's just coming from a vindictive mother. Just hopeless.
So let me pause on something you just said and ask you about that. Knowing it's not true, how do you know that John did not sexually or physically abuse his children?
I know John. I grew up with him. I knew him for 40 years. He was a close brother. John is just not capable of doing anything like that. John was always very gentle. He had no such tendencies. John was not capable of doing any of these.
I want to transition now, Stephen, to the events of February 5, 2021. I know this will be difficult. Do you remember the events of that day?
More or less.
Where were you the morning of that day in question?
I was in Emmett, Idaho at my parents' house working.
At some point in that day, were you in Lewiston?
Yes.
Let's talk to the jury about how that happened. How did you come to be in Lewiston the day of February 5, 2021? That was a Friday.
My brother John gave me a call, I'd say around 11 o'clock, and said that he'll have custody of the children that evening, that Becky's petition was struck down and the court made a ruling that he will have the children, so there will be an exchange. And so I said, I think I should come there for the exchange and just be there for you.
Pause on that. Why did you say that? Why did you feel that way?
I felt that way because there hadn't been an exchange for now a long time, approximately quite a while.
Why had there not been an exchange for quite a while?
There hadn't been an exchange because she didn't honor court orders and visitation times. So she got away with not bringing the kids to visitations and exchanges. There had been a ruling made in December that John was to have the children, and she didn't honor that.
All right, so go ahead. You were saying getting the call from John.
I got the call from John, and so I just wanted to be there to support him and come up there and be with him for this time because of the nature of prior custody exchanges, etc.
Did John say anything in response to that?
He said, Steve, I got it. Don't bother. It's a 5-hour drive, whatever. Probably wasn't sure if it would happen because usually it hadn't. Oftentimes it hadn't happened.
Wasn't sure what would happen.
He wasn't sure that the exchange would actually go through because in prior times, oftentimes the mother would have skirted with the children, left the county at visitation times, and so his hopes were to actually didn't know, if this would actually happen. So, Steve, don't drive 5 hours for nothing.
Gotcha. And how did you respond?
I said, I think I'm going to come, John. I need to be there for you, and I left Emma.
When did you leave?
I think it was around 12:30.
What time did you get to Lewiston?
Around 5:30.
Where did you go?
The Rose Hours parking lot.
When you got there, was John there?
He probably was, but I didn't see him for the first few minutes. And then he approached my car.
I want you to walk the jury through what happened. Slow down right here and what happened from that point. So you said you saw John or he saw you. I didn't catch that.
I believe he saw me. I pulled in and I believe he I didn't know where he was at. He didn't know where I was at exactly. So I believe he recognized my vehicle, my plates and everything, and soon came and to my vehicle.
Okay.
And we chatted for a few minutes there.
Then what happened?
And then at some point, Betty, my sister, also tied in with us, and we talked. And then John said it's time to go down to the library. Book return was where they agreed to meet. His van was close to there, and get the car seats ready. And so he headed down that way and was doing that. And then we had agreed that he wanted Betty to film it, and I would just be at a little bit of a distance to not add any extra trauma or anything, or any extra whatever, and just be removed just a little bit in case. So I was moving my vehicle, and then at that point, Betty was down by John, and we thought, or at that point, let's see, did I say that the Suburban was coming in? The blue Suburban came in?
Yeah, you didn't. So you and John are at your vehicle and Betty shows up and then John left to go get his car with him.
That is correct.
And you and Betty are still at your car.
That is correct.
And then what happened?
Then we're moving my car, and we see the blue Suburban pull, and we say, "Oh, Becky's here."
Okay, let's pause on that.
Mhm.
We see the blue Suburban.
That is correct,
What
yes.
do you mean by the blue Suburban?
It was the car Becky normally drove to visits.
How did you know that?
I had seen it at other visits, and yeah, I just seen it at the visits I was at.
Had you seen Becky driving that before?
I believe so.
Okay. And to your knowledge, that was the car she drove, that was her car?
Yes,
Okay. And did you see that car drive in?
yes.
Okay, then what happened?
Then we were moving my car. As we were moving my car, we saw her come in, and Betty at that point said, "Let me out, Steve," and went down to be with John. And I was continuing to move my car around, had to stop. And this all happened very fast. I had to stop for another vehicle, and at that time I see Jim come out of the car, the Suburban, instead of
Jim is who?
James, sorry.
Well, that's okay, no, that's, Jim's fine, but you mean Mr. Bashir?
Yes, Mr. Bashir. And then Mr. Bashir was came out of his car instead of Rebecca, and walked over towards John, and I could see him mouth some words. I later found out he said, "Hi, John." John turned around and he shot him cold blank from maybe 4 to 6 feet away. Repeated.
How far away are you in this?
I would say about 50 feet.
50 feet? Did you have a clear view?
I had a very clear view.
Did you see Jim Bashir clearly as he approached John?
Yes, I could.
Could you see John?
Yes.
Could you see Betty?
Not as clear, but I could see her. Yes.
You saw Jim Bashir mouth some words to John.
Yes.
You couldn't hear him.
Yes, I couldn't hear him. That is correct.
You saw him. What happened next?
He raises the gun and shoots John after the mouth. "Hi, John."
You see that?
Yes.
You witnessed Jim Bashir shoot your brother.
Yes, that is correct. That was from about 50 feet, and my first reaction was to see what I could do, of course. So I honked my horn for a while, and that actually made him turn over towards me, make eye contact with me. And I ducked because I thought he was surely going to try to shoot me next. But he walked back to his car and put his hands up, I believe. I left my car right there where it was. The door opened, and looked right away after I saw that Jim was not going to continue shooting. I followed my brother to where he was going, and his first impulse was to go to the closest obstacle between him and Jim, which was a car about, I don't want to say how far off, but it was a little ways, and got behind that car, started looking back towards James, and realized James isn't following him.
Then what happened?
Then I believe I talked to John a little bit, and
So you approached John.
that is correct.
Did you do anything to try to administer help or first aid of any sort?
I supported him a little bit, and I said, "John, you need to lay down." And I helped him lay down and made sure he's on his back. And I talked to him, and it was very soon after that that law enforcement and first responders were there.
Why did you do those things? Why did you lay him down?
Because I knew the severity of the injuries.
Tell me about that. What do you mean you knew the severity of the injuries? Tell me about what you knew about that.
I knew it was a bullet wound. I knew he had been shot. And I didn't know where yet exactly, but I knew he had been shot. He was needing to be in a horizontal position.
Why is that?
Probably for safety partially, but also just because he would likely soon possibly fall and just better position.
You're not a doctor.
I'm not.
You're not an EMT.
No,
No special training in those areas.
no.
Did you have a gut feeling, a layperson that's a brother, about your brother's condition at that moment?
Yes, I did. But my really deep gut feeling was that this is really bad. Multiple shots fired. But in the moment, you always want to hope for the best. And I lived in denial. I wanted to be in denial. My mind was. I kept telling myself, John's not going to die.
What happened next?
The ambulance came and he was loaded in. We weren't allowed to go with him due to COVID rules. And he was.
Before that, you were there with John. Was Betty there?
Yes, she was.
What was Betty doing, to your recollection?
Yeah, she was. She called Mom and had her talk with John.
I think for privacy and dignity, I'm not going to ask you what happened in that conversation. But did you witness John having a chance to talk to his parents?
No, he couldn't talk much. He couldn't really talk.
Did you witness your parents trying to talk to him?
Yes,
So your understanding was that the last time they got to speak?
yes.
Talked a minute ago about being in your vehicle about 50 feet away when this happened and seeing it all, and honking your horn to distract Jim and seeing him turn and face you
Mm-hmm.
and having a fear that you might get shot, correct?
Yes,
You said you ducked down.
yes.
What else went through your mind at that point, if anything?
Wondering if Betty was shot. And then wondering where Becky is with the kids, but then soon I saw her car come in.
Let's talk about that. About when did you see her car? Now, you say her car because you already saw her car, this is Ruben. So what do you mean you saw her car?
Her in a different car. It was,
Did
I
you
believe it was
see her?
yes.
Oh, you did. About when was that?
I would say it was 6:02 approximately.
How do you know so specific?
I'm not sure. I believe my sister may have checked her call log from the 911 call, and we kind of pieced it together. My gut feeling was, yeah, it was right around there.
I mean, I guess what I'm wondering is about how long after the shooting occurred did you witness, did you see her come in? Where were you? What were you doing when you saw her? That kind of thing.
I believe I was still there with John when she came in, or right after that.
Right. I asked that you speak up because this quit working. Quit working.
Let's get another one for
I hate to
Mr. Gresham. No, I want to make sure you can hear, so I know we've got some spares.
Tried to pick up what I could.
All right. Get you a fresh battery. And then I see, Ms. Brashear Mast, your microphone on your table is muted. There you go. Perfect.
Thank you.
Is that what was on, David?
Yeah, that didn't have a light. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Ron. Okay. Transitioning to another thing. Are you aware of an email that Rebecca sent to John the same day as the custody exchange and his killing?
Yes.
How did you become aware of that email?
John showed it to me when we were sitting in my car at that time.
Tell me about that. Tell the jury about that.
John got an email at 5:45, and the extent of it was an email from Rebecca saying that I will be there with the kids at 6. I will be at Rosar's with the kids at 6.
You saw the email?
Yes,
John showed it to you?
yes.
And so that we clarify here a little bit, you mentioned 5:45. Was that the time it was sent? Was that the time John got it? Do you know?
It was sent at 5:45. Seems like a minute or two after that he got it. So I believe he had his phone out. He was getting notifications.
Did that email seem unusual to you?
Yes, it did.
Why is that?
The reason it did is it was very untypical of Rebecca to communicate and cooperate like this for any kind of custody exchanges. You ask how I know. John talked to me about these things, and it just wasn't typical. There was no cooperation from her. Most of the time, a lot of the time, the visits didn't happen due to no communication, due to not bringing the kids, etc. So very untypical, concerning.
Concerning, why do you say that?
My first thoughts were concerning. This is unusual. This is strange. What's up?
Made you think something was up?
And I know it did John. His demeanor changed.
Tell me about that. How did it change?
He didn't say much, but I could tell he was stressed.
So let's contrast that. Prior to getting this email, what was John's demeanor like?
It was pretty happy. Yeah, it was. I would describe it as pretty happy and cheerful. Still talking about details of the visit, the upcoming visitation, but pretty happy.
So fair to say hopeful?
Yes.
And after the email?
Just still maybe hopeful, but yeah, his demeanor was just, what's the word? Stressed, basically, troubled.
Trouble. To your understanding, for prior custody exchanges or visitations, had Rebecca ever communicated with John like that?
To my knowledge, no.
So I think I either asked you this or you answered it, or what you thought of that email in the moment. I think you said concerning support. What do you think of that email now?
Now, I think it may have been a way for her to ensure that John is there for sure in order so that this can happen. It may have been a way of her to
Objection,
to make sure
speculation.
John is there on
Okay,
time.
I'm gonna sustain that objection.
Fair enough. Thank you, Judge. And my question to you, Stephen, was not what you thought, not what you think John thought about it, not asking you to speculate about what John was thinking, but what do you think about it now?
About that email,
Yes.
I can just repeat what I said. It was untypical and it was unusual. It was not what Becky usually did. She didn't communicate like this.
You felt like it was some kind of a lure or a trap?
Yes, I felt like it was a setup. I felt like it was part of Plan B or part of the plan, a plan.
Plan B, what do you mean by that?
I think in their communication that day, they referred to a Plan B.
Who's they?
The Bashir family, Mr. Bashir and Rebecca.
What do you know about that?
That's about all I know. I believe that there might have been a Plan B if they weren't able to have CPS step in and do a restraining order or something like that. When all other resources were exhausted and attempts were exhausted, there was a plan B, I believe.
Attempts and resources exhausted to prevent that custody exchange that day from
Yes,
happening.
yes, to prevent John from having the kids that evening.
You're
Yes,
suggesting that that was plan A to do that?
I believe so.
Objection, speculation.
But I'm asking what he knows. I'm not asking him to speculate on what anybody else thought.
He doesn't know.
I think her objection goes to his speculation about what happened, and to the extent that it does, I'm going to sustain that objection.
That's fine, Judge. I can move on. Thank you. Okay, Stephen, a few more questions for you here. We got to get into some tough stuff again. I'd like you to talk to the jury, describe for them the emotions that ran through you in the parking lot that evening as you watched Jim murder your brother.
Yeah, like denial, shock, disbelief, detached from reality, fear, and then Betty and mine.
The next few minutes, as you were helping John to the best of your ability, and the next few hours as they took him away in the ambulance, what kind of emotions did you feel?
Despair, discouragement, turning to grief and anger.
When you were told the jury that as well, that when you were in the parking lot, you were helping your brother down, you could tell that this was severe, serious, and yet you were hopeful, you said.
Mm-hmm.
You would make it, correct?
Yes.
When did you find out that he didn't?
We found out he didn't make it when we went to I believe St. Joseph's, to the hospital. Betty and I went in Betty's truck to the hospital after we had spent some time at the parking lot, I believe. So it may have been 30 to 45 minutes later. We went there and went to the place you check in and asked about him. They didn't give us a lot of information, but sent us to a waiting room. And then soon somebody came and told us that he was deceased, so it might have been an hour or so after.
It might have been an hour.
Yes.
What kinds of emotions did you feel in that moment and the next few moments after that news?
Disbelief, just didn't seem real, not attached to reality. Turning to anger and still fear. Hopelessness and sorrow, sadness.
Kind of emotions that you wrestled with over the ensuing 4 years since that happened?
As far as emotions, more of the same. Yeah, more of the same, a lot of anger, although we choose to forgive, and forgiveness is important. There's been anger, there's been probably bitterness and, sadness, as our lives are changed forever.
You used what I would consider to be a very powerful word just a minute ago, Stephen, when you said forgiveness. Tell me
Yes.
about that.
I believe that we need to forgive. We need to choose to forgive still, and my family has chosen to do that.
Is that difficult?
Yes, very.
What has witnessing your brother's death and then suffering with his loss for these 4 years done to you mentally?
Mentally, not sure what all falls under that, but short and long-term memory loss, PTSD, a little bit disconnected emotionally from my family. Earlier on also, it was actually a loss of appetite, and well, I guess that's physical.
Objection, is there any evidence of this?
Overrule that objection, and now I'm going to let you can inquire on cross-examination.
What's it done to you emotionally?
Emotionally, just PTSD.
You started to talk about some physical effects that you felt. Tell us about those.
Physical was lack of sleep, shock the first night, no appetite for weeks, slowly got better. Still trouble sleeping, anxiety. I believe memory loss is associated with that. See a physical therapist for tension in my back.
You do?
Yes,
How long have you been doing that?
about 4 to 6 months, I would say, that it finally started.
How often do you go to the physical therapist?
Every other week.
And you've been doing that for how long?
I'd say about 6 months, although there was a chiropractor I started going to several years ago also.
Was that also in relation to this event?
I can't verify that for sure. I would suggest it would be.
Every other week for 6 months. So we're talking about 6 times 12 visits for the PT, and there was chiro before that.
Yes.
So how much do those PT visits cost?
$75 per time.
About $150 a month
Yes.
for the PT.
Yes.
How much does the chiro cost?
I believe that was $60 every other week.
So $120 a month.
Yes.
For the chiro. Have you heard any other hard expenses like this related to witnessing your brother being killed?
I went to counseling for a while after, for about 2 years.
And how often was that?
I can remember, I believe it was every other week, I believe.
Same thing. And do you know how much those?
I believe it was $100 per time.
So about $200 a month?
Yes. Went for about 2 years, I would say.
2 years. PT was 6 months, the chiro was how long?
The chiro was probably 18 months.
18 months. Counseling was 2 years.
Yes.
I just want to finish up with 2 more generalized questions for you. Just overall, speaking in, just kind of asking you kind of sum things up for the jury, if you would. What has John's loss done to you?
John's loss has really kind of ripped a hole in my heart and my life. It's been pretty dramatic. He was a close brother, even though he lived away. We would talk a lot, so yeah, it's definitely impacted my life.
What's it done to your family?
The worst part was seeing my parents when they showed up in Lewiston that evening. And they came out of their vehicle after learning of John's death. They had learned about it on the way there. But coming out of their vehicle, it looked like they had aged about 10 years. That's one of the worst things. This is the 3rd child they've lost. One of the big deals is also Shira and Zane are a niece and nephew of mine, and we don't ever get to see them. They're not in our life. And they don't have a dad. They lost a loving father. So it's really, it's definitely been hard on my family in every aspect, pretty much.
Thank you. No more questions.
Thank you. Mr. Brashear, cross-examination.
I had no questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Brashear Mast, any questions on cross-examination?
Yes, absolutely.
You may inquire.
So my first question would be, did you live in North Dakota while John Mast was raising ACM and CCM?
I was there for a time working on the oil rig, yes. Yes,
But while we were raising ACM and CCM,
yes.
did John Mast primarily live in North Dakota?
From 2012 to approximately 2019, I would say yes.
Did you primarily live there during those days?
Not primarily, just for that first year or so.
Is it true you only saw the children primarily on family reunions and holidays?
Family reunions, holidays, trips, yeah.
You said there were hundreds, so were there hundreds of reunions and holidays and trips? Because you said you saw them hundreds of times.
I said I saw hundreds of interactions, probably several hundred
So how
interactions.
does that work if you only saw them at reunions, holidays, and occasions?
The question I'm referring to was I was asked how many interactions I've seen with John and the kids, and I assumed that was in their lifetime. And in their lifetime, they also, Shira anyhow, lived in Montana for a time, so we would see more of them.
How long did we live in Montana after Shira was born?
I'd say 6 months.
Yes, thank you. How often did you visit North Dakota during 2012 to 2017 prior to the separation of John Mast and Rebecca Brashear?
2012, I went there twice a month. After that, it was quite a bit less.
Is it safe to say you had limited personal knowledge of children from 2012 to 2017?
No, I had a fair amount of knowledge.
You said you would talk about kids. Is that correct?
Yes,
Was that on the phone primarily?
primarily yes.
Was that also on Facebook?
I would say some, yes.
Do you believe people can appear differently on Facebook than they appear in person?
Some people, yes.
Do you believe people can appear different over the phone than they can in person?
Sadly, yes.
Do you believe John would never keep things from you like a drinking problem?
I believe he would not keep that from me.
What about giving beer to Zane at 3 years old?
If he would keep that from me,
Yes.
I don't know. Likely.
Do you believe he would keep that from you or would not keep that from you?
I believe he likely would keep that from me. I don't know.
Would he tell you about getting in trouble for that?
Likely.
What is your personal knowledge about visitations?
Somewhat limited. What are you referring to, please?
How many times did you go to visitations?
I'm trying to remember. It was anywhere from 1 to 3 times, I would say 1 to 3 or 4 times. It's been a while.
Okay. Are there unreported crimes in the Amish community?
Objection, relevance.
You brought up the Amish community and how
Well,
white they
I'm
are.
waiting for the court to, I'm going to sustain that objection. I don't know that it's got relevance to this case.
Is it looked at as wrong to report to the police?
Objection, same relevance, Judge. She's still talking about the Amish community.
Sustained.
You testify you attended 1 to 3 visits.
Yes, I would say so.
How do you know what I generally drive then?
I would say from John's description and from those visits.
How do you know I was causing issues then?
Can you please explain?
If your personal knowledge was only 1 to 3 visits, then how do you know that I was causing issues then?
At the visits?
Yes.
I would say that mostly came from John, what John told me. Likely some, I don't know if there's some pictures, but probably just from what John told me.
Were you there when I called law enforcement on him?
I do not believe I was, no.
How do you know the visits were disrupted?
Oh, from what John told me, they were very disruptive.
What if you saw evidence John Mast abused the children? What would be your reaction?
Objection, calls for speculation.
Sustained.
You say I refused to give John Mast his supervised visits.
Yes.
How do you know this?
I know this from John telling me, and John would likely send emails, etc., of the visits times, and then I would know that he's not having the visits at those times.
How do you know John Mast didn't refuse his visits?
I was there and for his visits, sometimes for his Zoom calls and stuff in North Dakota, and I know he wouldn't do that. John loved the kids. He
How
never
do you know
refused to
he didn't
visit.
want to pay for them?
Objection. Relevance, Judge, was the question about paying?
That's what I understood the question to be. Can you
How
repeat
do
your
you know he
question?
didn't want to pay for them?
Or objection ambiguous? I'm not sure what the question is.
The visits.
Visitations.
Okay, so let me parse this out. Repeat the question in its entirety again. I want to make sure we're
How
looking.
do you know he didn't want to pay for the visitations?
I'll overrule that objection. I'll let you answer that if you know about that.
The visits he paid for,
That
and
is
then
correct.
sometimes didn't actually get the visits,
That is correct.
those. So he would pay for them.
No, how do you know John Mast didn't want to pay for his visits?
Because John loved his kids. He loved them so much that he drove 15 hours for 3 hours with the kids and paid for the visit.
And yet are you aware he never paid for child support and was only responsible for paying for visits?
Objection, relevance.
Relevance? Do you want to respond to that?
I see it as very relevant. They made the claim in there that he did not ask about him having his visits, and they said that he didn't go to them for 6 months, and that.
Your Honor, this is not a custody proceeding.
I'm going to sustain that objection.
Are you aware that I communicated via third party until February 5th, 2021?
Yes.
Are you aware the judge ordered direct communication that day?
No.
How can you know how I typically communicate with John Mast if I hadn't directly communicated with him from 2017 to 2021?
Can you repeat that?
How can you know how I typically communicated with John Mast if I hadn't directly communicated with him from 2017 to 2021?
I think he told me, Wanda sometimes, then there was actually an official third party. I think it's from what he told me.
Is there any evidence of your mental health diagnosis related to the trauma?
No.
Is there any evidence of your physical condition related to your trauma?
Likely not.
No further questions.
Mr. Miller, any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Just briefly.
Please do.
Stephen, Rebecca just asked you a minute ago if there's any evidence of your physical manifestations related to your trauma, correct?
Yes.
You said likely not, correct?
Yes.
However, you have been seeing a physical therapist
Yes.
and a chiropractor
Yes.
and a counselor.
Yes.
Those professionals have likely kept records, correct?
Yes.
So there actually is evidence of the physical manifestation of your trauma.
That is correct, yes.
That's all I have.
Mr. Brasher, any recross on those questions?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Brasher, Mess, any recross on those questions?
Yes, absolutely. Did you bring those evidence to the court today?
No.
No further questions.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Mast, you can step down. I'm looking at the time here. I'm going to ask Mr. Miller, would allow you to call your next witness. I don't know how far we would get into that before we break for the evening, and I'm going to ask whether you'd like to start now or if we want to start fresh in the morning.
Thank you, Your Honor. We've discussed this, and our next witness is likely to be lengthy, and so we'd ask if we could recess and stop it.
Let's go ahead and do that. I think that makes sense. I'm going to turn my questions to the jury at this point. I would ordinarily start at 9 o'clock. I'm happy to start at 8:30. We can get started a little bit earlier if you want to do that, or we can start at 9. What's your preference?
I'm retired, let's go. I'm retired too, I'm going 8:30.
If we started, is there any objection to starting at 8:30? I think we could fit a little bit more in before the noon hour. Okay, let's go ahead then. Why don't we recommence tomorrow morning at 8:30? And before we go, I'm going to give you this admonishment one more time. You're going to have it memorized by the time we get done. Members of the jury, I remind you that you're not to discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else, nor to form any opinion as to the merits of the case until after I finally submit the case to you. With that, I appreciate your attention today. I'll see you tomorrow. We get started at 8:30. Please rise for the jury. Okay, go ahead and be seated. Thank you. We're outside the presence of the jury. Mr. Miller, is there anything that we need to take up this evening before we break for the evening from the plaintiffs?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Brashear, Ms. Brashear Mast, is there anything we need to take up this evening before, from your perspective, before we get together tomorrow? Okay. What I think we'll do is, counsel, if we can reconvene in courtroom 2 tomorrow morning. Why don't we go at 8:15? And that way, if there's anything that comes up, we can deal with that so we can get us started right at 8:30 here. Okay?
Very good.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you in the morning. We'll be in recess.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Jesse, is it going to be a problem tomorrow? What's that?
It won't be late tomorrow.
I appreciate it. And I get staffing issues, so.
So, talk for a bit, or go get some eat, and then we can meet. Huh?
You're staying. You ready? Kevin's got you.
We'll see you out here, okay? I'll meet you outside.
Yeah.
Robert. I don't think we're gonna have any exhibits on her.
No, we don't have any.
And she's gonna come up with a lot of manifestations. She's gonna. And it'll.
Folks, I need to have the jury come through, so if you guys could either move aside or go out in the lobby.
Let me stop the ladder.
Okay.
When Crane's ready to go.